Muhammad Encik Azizul Anwar bin Sri Ajanan.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, sir. Ingin bertanya kepada Bapa Mertua. Soalan saya nombor 63.
Ada juga Pak Mentua. Ini Pak Mentua saya.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Speaker. Terima kasih kepada ahli yang berhormat for Tanjung Datuk. Allow me to answer also question 88, which is also in correlation with question 63. For the information of ahli yang berhormat for Tanjung Datuk, carbon trading is one of the mechanisms to mitigate climate change. Carbon trading is actually the buying and selling of carbon credits in the international market or local market to control the emission of carbon. Carbon trading is done in two ways, which is the voluntary carbon market and also the compliance carbon market. So for Sarawak, with 65% of its land consisting of forests, 15% of mangrove, which can store 3 times the amount of carbon, and also 15% of the 65% is made up of peat, definitely Sarawak will embark into carbon trading. Mr. Speaker, carbon trading actually has started about 27 years ago in 1995 after the Kyoto Protocol was agreed. It became more active in the last 7 or 8 years after the agreement on the Paris Agreement of 2015, whereby Article 6, Article 6.2 and Article 6.4 is mentioned clearly on carbon trading. So Sarawak, in the last few years, have made a very important decision whereby Sarawak will play a very important role and would like to take part in the mitigation of climate change. Therefore, the Sarawak government has formed this new ministry, which is called the Ministry of Energy and Environmental Sustainability, because the solution to climate change is by reduction of carbon emission, which is done through various ways, for example, recycling, circular economy, renewable energy, reduction in the usage of coal, fossil and nuclear, carbon trading, CCUS, carbon capture, usage and storage, and also lastly through the financial control through ESG, which is environment, social and governance. Mr. Speaker, the Sarawak Green Economic Policy is a policy which is drawn by our ministry, and we are proud to say that we are the first in Malaysia to have this green economy policy, which basically says that our economy in the future will be based on low carbon and decarbonization. Actually, Sarawak is now carbon negative. We are not even carbon zero. We are not even net zero. But if we don't do anything in the next 8 years, we will be net zero. And if we don't do anything in the next decade, we will be carbon positive. Mr. Speaker, the hydrogen economy policy is also drafted based on the potential of Sarawak to produce large quantity of hydrogen from renewable energy, which is hydro, for export, for transport, and for the industries. This also is the first hydrogen economy policy in Malaysia. Mr. Speaker, as we all know, the Russia-Ukraine war has woken up the giants in the industrial countries that we are no longer able to depend on oil and gas. because with the rise in the price of oil and gas due to the Russian and Ukraine war, it has affected the economies and the livelihoods of the people in Europe. Therefore, an alternative form of new energy must be discovered, and the answer is hydrogen. Any country in the world can produce hydrogen if they have two things. Number one, they have water, and number two, they have energy. The only question is what type of energy they have. Is it coal, fossil or nuclear, which are all not green, or is it hydropower, which Sarawak has? Therefore, hydrogen is the energy of the future. Thus, Speaker, now I shall answer the question from Ahli Yang Berhormat Tupong, which touches on the development of hydrogen industry in Sarawak. Untuk makluman Ahli Yang Berhormat Tupong, Kerajaan Sarawak telah pun membuat keputusan yang penting juga beberapa tahun yang lalu untuk mencuba diri di dalam industri hidrogen. Dan Kerajaan Sarawak telah pun menubuhkan sebuah GLC, Government Link Company, di bawah SEDC yang dinamakan SEDC Energy. SEDC Energy lah yang akan bekerjasama dengan syarikat-syarikat pengeluar hidrogen di dunia, dan kita telah pun mendapat confirmation daripada dua syarikat, iaitu Sumitomo Corporation and INEOS daripada Jepun, dan juga Samsung Engineering, POSCO dan Lotte Chemical daripada Korea. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Timbalan Menteri. I have two further supplementary questions. Thank you for the explanation. Number one, maybe all of us would want to know what are carbon credits, and then number two, how do they verify the standards of carbon offset projects? Thank you.
So, carbon credits are actually measurable, verifiable reductions in carbon emission, which can be measured by using a formula. Yeah? And also now, there is another technology which can use the satellite to measure the carbon content in the forest carbon. And these credits are tradable units that can represent the tonnage of carbon, either removed or avoided. So one carbon credit is equals to 1 ton of carbon. And now the price of carbon credit ranges between 8 USD per ton to about 50 USD per ton. So here we can imagine the amount of revenue that Sarawak will have if we embark into carbon trading. The second question is, how are the standards verified? There are 3 layers of measurement. Number one is to be done by the government through the Forest Department. Number two, the second layer, is through the carbon consultants or the carbon traders. And the third layer, the verification must be done by an independent international body. So there are 3 layers of measurement. It cannot be done simply, it must be licensed, and Sarawak is in the process of issuing and coming up with the rules and regulations to carry out carbon trading through carbon licensing. And also Sarawak is in the process of forming our own carbon registry. Thank you.
Soalan tambahan, Speaker. Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Dato' Ahmad Speaker. Terima kasih Ahli Yang Berhormat daripada Demak Laut. Soalan tambahan saya, apakah manfaat jangka masa panjang bagi rakyat Sarawak untuk projek algae ini? Dan yang keduanya, apakah justifikasi dan faktor-faktor yang dipertimbangkan oleh SCDC Energy ini untuk bekerjasama dengan Petronas bagi penghasilan hydrogen electrolyzer berbandingkan dengan syarikat-syarikat lain. Terima kasih. Yang Berhormat Tan Sri Dato' Amar.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Ahli bagi Tupong. Sebenarnya industri mikroalgae adalah merupakan satu industri baru di mana karbon yang disimpan di bawah tanah, di bawah program carbon capture, usage and storage boleh digunakan untuk menghasilkan biofuel yang berkualiti tinggi sekiranya karbon tersebut dicampuri dengan mikroalgae, dan biofuel tersebut adalah biofuel yang akan digunakan oleh industri penerbangan iaitu kapal terbang, dan industri ini boleh dilaksanakan di kampung-kampung kerana the planting of algae can easily be done in tanks of water in the kampung, and the kampung will supply the processing plant with the algae. Secondly, SCDC adalah merupakan rakan kongsi dalam penghasilan hydrogen electrolyzer sebab SCDC dan Petronas merupakan rakan kongsi yang sedang menjalankan uji kaji ataupun research and development di mana terdapat 400 lebih saintis di pusat R&D Petronas, dan salah seorang daripada saintis tersebut adalah merupakan anak Sarawak. Jadi inilah yang merupakan hala tuju industri baru untuk Sarawak. Sekian, terima kasih.